Let's continue. This is the next topic. This is the next topic. Architecture considerations for embedded systems. Architecture means what? If you take the example of a building, if you want to construct some building, what are the different things that you need? You need bricks, you need concrete, you need sand, you need cement, and you need other things, right? So these are all building blocks of a building. Okay. In the same way, what are the things, different things that are needed to construct embedded system? That is, this topic is about architecture considerations for embedded system. Architecture considerations for embedded system, right? Now see, if you look at this block diagram, let's find out what are the different building blocks that are generally used to construct embedded system. Now see, over here we have a processor. Processor is the heart of embedded system. Processor is the heart of embedded system, right? And it is shown here. And processor, what about this external memory? Okay, processor and external memory means this processor may be microprocessor or it may be a controller, microcontroller. If it is a processor does not contain any memory. You have to add externally. Okay, if this processor is a microcontroller, let's say if this thing is a microcontroller, it has some memory built onto it. It has an inbuilt memory. If it is not sufficient for your application, then you have to add external memory. So sometimes we may need external memory. It is a secondary storage. And reset circuitry. Reset circuitry means it is a small electronic circuit which resets the processor in case the processor goes into infinite loop. Okay, infinite loop means it is not at all responding to the input signal. If it is not responding to the input signal, the whole functionality is stopped. Okay, the embedded system functionality is stopped. If it is not responding, then by pressing some reset button here, then you can bring the processor back to its functionality. That's what reset circuitry is. Okay, that is another thing. That is another component we need for building the embedded system. Next thing is crystal. Some microcontrollers, okay, some processor. Here we said processor. It may be a processor, microprocessor, or it may be a microcontroller. Anything, it can be anything. If it is a processor doesn't contain any clock generation circuit. What processor contains? Processor contains arithmetic logic unit, control unit, and things like that, right? It will not contain. It will not contain free clock generation circuits, right? It will not contain any clock generation circuits. Means you need a clock generator or oscillator circuit. Processor doesn't contain any oscillator. So if it is a pure processor, then you need to have a crystal, external crystal, to generate the oscillations. Okay, if it is a microcontroller, okay, if this one is a microcontroller, then some microcontrollers they contain a clock generation. Okay, if it is a AVR microcontroller, AVR microcontrollers are some popular microcontrollers. If you look at the data sheet of a AVR microcontroller, then they have a inbuilt inbuilt clock, 1 megahertz clock frequency. Okay, and that microcontroller operates up to 12 megahertz. And if you want the microcontroller to operate at 12 megahertz frequency, then you need external crystals. Okay, then we talk about these external crystals later on. Address latch. Okay, this address latch and external RAM. It is external RAM means it is a permanent memory. In this permanent memory, we generally store the program, and it is latch for external devices, tri-state buffer, chipset, application specific control circuitry, ADCs, LCD displays, LED indicators, communication interface. Okay, these are all different building blocks that are generally used in embedded systems. Okay, now see ADCs and DACs, analog to digital converters and digital to analog converters. Let's see one by one in the next slides. These are the various building blocks of embedded systems. Hardware are CPU, RAM, input devices such as ADC, keypad, output devices such as DAC, LEDs, LCD, debug port, communication interface, and supply unit, power supply unit. This power supply unit is not shown in the previous block diagram, but it should be there. Otherwise, we don't get power, and without power, no embedded system will function, right? And we have a debug port also. Debug port means if your functionality, if your program is not giving correct functionality, then finding out the problem, okay, that is that debugging. Finding out the problem is nothing but the debugging. The debugging takes place through this debug port. Generally, this debug port comes with JTAG. JTAG is nothing but a giant JTAG. What is that JTAG? Can you expand that JTAG? Giant action group, something like that. Okay, that is also part of our syllabus. Somewhere it comes, we will explain that also. Okay, giant group action, it goes like that. Next, an internal memory. Internal memory means we can add memory externally, or memory is also present within the microcontroller. Now, what is this internal memory? What is this internal memory? Now we okay, one slide is I have skipped one slide. Now we are talking about memories. Now the following topics, following slides, they all talk about different building blocks that are shown previously in the block diagram. So in the coming slides, we are talking about the different blocks that are presented, that are shown in the block diagram. Now let's begin. The first thing is memory. Now memory can be external memory or internal memory. Memory can be external memory or internal memory. Now what is internal memory and what is external memory and their classifications? Okay, and their classifications. Now moving to the next one, we begin with the internal memory. What is the internal memory? All the microcontrollers, they have some internal memory. Internal memory means within the microcontroller chip IC, within the microcontroller IC, we have small RAM, means fixed permanent memory, and small temporary memory called RAM. RAM. Okay. If you look at the data sheets of microcontrollers, in the data sheets you will find these details. For example, AVR microcontrollers. Okay, Atmega 16, Atmega 8. Atmega 8 means it has 8 KB of RAM flash memory, and some other some 200 KB or some not 200 KB, some few bits or few bytes of temporary memory. Okay, temporary memory. right? 8 KB of RAM flash memory means generally they say 8 KB of flash memory. Flash memory is type of permanent memory. Generally, that permanent memory is used to store the program. Okay, if you store program into that flash memory, then you don't then you don't need to upload that program every time the power is gone. Okay, once the program is stored in the flash memory, it will remain there even after power is disconnected. Okay, that is the thing. So internal memory means the memory which is present within the microcontroller, within the same single silicon chip, within the same silicon chip, that is called internal memory. So internal memory is found in the same silicon chip of that processor, same silicon as processor. It is accessible to the processor without any use of input or output. And that memory, internal memory, is very tightly coupled to the processor. Means it is very near to the processor. It is not far away from the processor. And that processor, with little effort, it can access this memory. If the capacity of the internal memory is high, the cost is likely to be more. And the cost of the microcontroller also depends on the internal memory present in the microcontroller. For example, Atmega 8 microcontrollers, Atmega 8 microcontrollers are little cheap. For example, Atmega 8 microcontroller is around 250 rupees. If you buy Atmega 16, where Atmega 16 means uh, there we have a 16 KB of flash memory.